a hotel in 2024, and if you've been in the hotel business for a few years at least, you will know that driving wedding revenue when you are a hotel has become increasingly challenging. Has anybody found that? You can just hit the thumbs up button, you can hit the heart emoji button if that's you. But here's the thing, it is not impossible, all right? It is not impossible. We have hotel clients who are doing very well with their wedding bookings and revenue, but they're doing some very specific things to make that happen. And look, I hear hotels come to me often, the GMs will say to me, the thing is, Kelly, you don't understand. We are not a barn. We are not a country house. We have challenges, and I get it. But the good news is couples are still booking hotels, all right? So drop a heart emoji for that one. Couples are still booking hotels. The piece that the hotels are missing out on is, in fact, the marketing piece, all right? That is where I see hotels getting it slightly wrong and why their bookings begin to decrease or aren't where they would like them to be. So today I'm going to focus on these 6 key areas that you can focus on, you can discuss with your team, you can look at enhancing so that you can have impact on your bookings and revenue. Now, I'll be honest, I could speak for at least 1 hour on each of these 6 points. I'm not going to do that because I know your time is precious, so is mine. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick overview of each of the 6, all right? And then at the end, I'm going to let you know how you can get more info. If you want to dive deeper on those 6, I'm going to let you know where to go if you need that. So if that all sounds good, just hit the little thumbs up emoji. Let me know in the chat if that all sounds good, and we will get cracking. Now, engagement season is already here if you are joining me in North America. So in North America, your engagement season, as you very well know, starts with Thanksgiving. For the rest of us, I am in London, in Europe especially, we have got 2 weeks before engagement season hits us. Now, what we see is that these couples are waiting right now. So if you are seeing a dip, if you are seeing no brochure downloads, you're seeing very little inquiries, you're seeing no tours coming in the venue, at this moment in time, that is very, very normal. It's very normal. So please don't worry. Please don't start battering your team verbally, obviously, or any other way. Don't batter them at all. Do not say to your team they need to do something else. They need to work harder. They need to phone more people, because at this time of year, the engaged couples come to a screeching halt. And what happens is if they're already engaged, they wait till Christmas is out the way. And if they haven't yet proposed, they're waiting for engagement season. They don't know it's engagement season, but you and I know that the majority of our couples get engaged over Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and a little bit still on Valentine's. And with these gorgeous engaged humans, they flood into our market, all these newly engaged couples, and these are the couples that we will be focusing on as we head into our engagement season. And these couples will indeed mean that you can fill some of your remaining 2025 dates. So if you are sitting there looking at your books thinking, goodness, I still have plenty of empty dates for 2025, then the good news is you're about to have a flood of engaged humans coming onto the market. Now, the other thing we want to do is with these engaged people, we want to fill 2026 dates, because when we look at typical lead times, weddings is completely different, isn't it, to the rest of our business. So when I speak to hotel leadership teams, they're often really very good at filling their food and beverage outlets, filling their bedrooms, filling their spas. But what we forget is that weddings is a completely different sales journey to those other pieces of our hotel business. And most of our couples are going to need 9 to 24 months from the time of proposal to the day of the wedding. Now, what this means is that you need to have at least 9 months from that engaged person getting the ring on their finger to the day of the wedding, filling that date in your diary. And realistically, the majority of our market is actually sitting at the 18-month mark for planning. So from the day of the proposal, let's say Christmas, to 18 months later is when they will be getting married. So those are your 2026 dates. Now, when we think about our couples getting married faster, you do have a portion of the market who will get married within 9 months. So that will fill some of those remaining late autumn 2025 dates. But what I don't want you to do or panic about is actually trying to fill the earlier parts of the year. That is not your focus right now because those couples simply cannot do it. Okay, if this is all sounding good so far, can you just give me a little comment in the chat? Give me a little heart emoji. I love to see the little hearts float up above the screen. Yes, I do. And now we're going to focus on the 6 steps. I'm going to very quickly give you an overview on the 6 core areas I would focus on if I was you, if I was running your hotel, if I was leading your events and weddings team, and I wanted more bookings and revenue. So the first thing I'd focus on is the buyer. I would really be looking at today's wedding couples because they are different to our couples of previous generations, of previous eras. And look, once again, you guys are good. You're good at filling your F&B outlets, your spa, your bedrooms, but we need to take time to understand this buyer. It's crucial. Wedding couples simply don't buy the way your other people buy your other pieces of your hotel. Okay. We cannot create an offer and throw it out into the market because we see we've got gaps in the next 4 months. We cannot sit in a revenue meeting and say, okay, let's create an offer for anyone who buys in the next 4 months. Here's some free canapes and some upgraded booze. That is not who our people are. Okay. These buyers are doing a big life event. Those small upgrades, those small discounts, and that concentrated timeline simply does not work for them. Our buyers are spending a lot of their own money. When it's a wedding, it's their own personal money and it's a big lifetime event. So we need to really get in the mindset of our couples. They buy with their eyes. Everything is about your imagery. Everything online is how they buy with their eyes. And these couples, they're overwhelmed. They don't know what they're doing. They've never done a big event like this before. They've never spent this kind of money on one big party. They are time poor. They are digital natives. They are researching and gathering so much information online and then shortlisting the venues that they will go and see in person. So the first of 6 is really deep dive into your buyer. Who are they? What do they do? How do they behave? What does the timeline look like? Because then our sales and marketing is affected and changed by who they are. The second thing of 6 is the ghosting piece. And your teams will be telling you, they're getting ghosted. They send an email with the brochure, with the pricing, with the original, the first contact, and they are hearing nothing. It's crickets. And this is one of the biggest frustrations for our wedding sales teams today. This lack of response is not rudeness. It's not because they hate you and it's not because you're a no. What happens is these emails land and our couples are in research mode. They are in investigative mode. They are gathering brochures, gathering prices, seeing what's out there, comparing different things. And that first email has to do quite a lot of heavy lifting. So the second thing I would look at of 6 is what does that email look like and how can we make it much more engaging, emotionally exciting so that your couples actually have an emotional response. I would really avoid having an email that starts with, congratulations on your engagement. So if you are a GM, a sales office manager right now, and you're hearing me, go and ask your team. Don't tell them off because they're doing the best they can do. But go and ask your team, what's the opening line on the email we send out, that first contact? And 99% of you, unless your teams have already been trained by me, they're going to say, oh, we say, congratulations on your engagement and thanks very much for your inquiry. This is not going to work when it comes to actually converting couples and moving them through to a venue viewing or a tour of the hotel. So we want to look at the wording we're using. We want to look at the imagery in that first email. It needs to be exciting and you need to have a clear next step. And your clear next step is to book a tour, which should be linked up to an automatic scheduler. If they have to email your team back and forth 6 times to find out when they have availability to show them the hotel, you're going to be losing bookings. You're going to be losing tours, which means you're losing bookings, you're losing revenue. I also want you to avoid in those emails any passive language like, inquire with us or come speak to our team. That is not how today's couples function. It needs to be very clear, it needs to be very digital, and it needs to excite them right there in the email with that clear next step. Okay, so we've looked at our buyer, we've looked at ghosting, that initial email. Now let's look at the third of six, which is follow-up. Let me pause here. Guys, you finding this useful? Tell me in the chat. Don't be shy. Tell me in the chat if this content is useful for you, and I'll do way more lives on this stuff. The third of six is what I call cold to close, which is our follow-up method, okay? If you are still telling your team to pick up the telephone 3 days after that inquiry came in, if we are still doing the typical hotel chase of the 3-day call, then I promise you, you are losing money. You are leaving bookings on the table. This is not how our couples convert. Today's wedding couples need a very specific follow-up method. Okay, so you can start sweeping up all these lost leads that are ghosting that first email and then completely ignoring that 3-day phone call that we're still doing. Now, what we teach our clients, our students, our attendees to our events is an exact step-by-step, paint by numbers, how to follow up with couples that actually convert. And what we use is a proven nurture sequence formula. And here's the exciting thing, guys. When we do this, we see on email 4 or 5, this is when couples take action. So imagine if your hotel is currently sending one email with the brochure and pricing, and then maybe nothing, or maybe one email that says, hey, have you seen the brochure? Which is still not exciting. Or maybe you're calling them 3 days later. But what we're seeing for the clients that are actually converting and filling out their diaries is that couples are taking action on email 4 and 5. Imagine how much business you're losing by not having the right nurture sequence in place. Now, the content of those emails is vital. It's that actually does do the heavy lifting. Okay, so our third thing is cold to close. The follow-up sequence, it has to be completely different to how we've done it for the past 20 years. Okay, the fourth thing of 6 is what I call easy to buy. Today's couples are low on effort, right? Because we live in a society that everything is at our fingertips, everything is fast, everything is easy. We have to make our packages and our pricing no-brainers. We have to make these packages so attractive and easy to digest. And we do this using a specific method that I call the value ladder. Now, this stops our venues from doing a race to the bottom when it comes to pricing. And I know that many of you will have struggled with that. You don't know how else to attract in couples. You're not filling your dates. So you end up just going down and down on price. It's our only marketing strategy. But that doesn't work because human beings believe we get what we pay for. So if you are having the cheapest product on offer, then the couples are actually going to think, well, I don't actually want the cheapest wedding. I don't want the most basic wedding. I want an Instagrammable wedding. And being the cheapest is not usually the best way to get that. But we must use psychology when it comes to pricing and packages so that it's easy to understand, but it also encourages our couples to in fact pick a higher level package. Now we do this, it in fact attracts a higher spender into the business and increases your average booking value. So the fourth point we need to look at is our easy to buy method. How are we constructing that value ladder? How are we constructing the packages to psychologically encourage our couples and attract a higher spender? 5 of 6. Guys, hit me a thumbs up. Let me know you're there. Let me know you're alive. Let me know this is useful. 5 of 6, the venue tour. We've talked a lot about getting people into the property because I know that's one of your biggest challenges. You're getting ghosted. Warm human beings who are actually alive are not getting onto property enough for you. So we've done that. We've talked about that. We've talked about how we're going to get them in. We've understood our buyer. We've done all the emails. We've nurtured them. They've taken action on email 4 and 5. And now they're actually coming into property. Whoop, amazing. Getting your couples on site today means that they are actually interested. They are actually hot buyers. In the olden days, when I started in hotels 25 years ago, couples would come in and out for tours and they would, not be hot buyers. They would be tire kickers. They would be window shoppers because they couldn't see as much digitally as what our couples can see today. If your couple have looked at you digitally and actually made the effort to get off the sofa, then trust me, these guys are interested. But our couples are also nervous of making the wrong decision. They're spending a lot of their own money. They don't actually know what they're doing and they feel a little cautious. And they sometimes feel a little bit like rabbits in headlights. They don't know what to do when, how to do it, how to make that decision, and they don't want to make the wrong decision. Now, when they get on site, they already know the logistics. They know your location. They know if you're in a city or on a beach. They know your size more or less. They know if you're a country house style hotel or if you're an urban hotel. They know the logical pieces of your property. Okay. When they get on site for a tour, the logic is not what you need to sell them on. What you need to sell them on is an emotional reaction. And your team has a huge impact on that. And that's why at this point, product is less of a barrier than you or might believe it to be. Okay. We all could always use a fresh pair of curtains, a fresh lick of paint, a fresh carpet. That's never ending. You and I know that. So instead, what we focus on a venue tour is the emotional side. And it's that piece there that actually converts more couples from tour to booking. Now, we use a 3-step method that I have created and used for many, many years, and it works beautifully with our couples because it's all based in psychology. And that 3-step method is sit and love, walk and talk, sit and sell. And in this way, we create an emotional response strategically to encourage our couple to choose us. Now, the other piece of your venue tour is that couples are taking much longer to make a decision. So again, back in the olden days, I would want that contract signed right on my venue tour. I'm going to get to the end of my tour. I'm going to done all my magic and they'll be like, yeah, hand me the contract. I'm ready to go. Or at least within 24 hours or 3 days, they're sending me a deposit. In today's market, what you will see is that our couples need a few weeks and even in some cases a couple of months to make the decision that you are the venue for them. Now, again, this might seem surprising, shocking, frustrating to us as hotels because this is not what we're used to, but this is the era that we're in. So if after the venue tour you have zero plan for what you're going to do for the following 2 months after that tour, then once again, we are losing bookings. Now, the 6th and final point here is the marketing plan. If I've trained your team and they know how to convert leads, then the next thing is you need to fill the pipeline for them, both with quantity, but also quality of couples. Because if you're filling a pipeline with low quality and you can devise from that whatever you take, right? Let's say the wrong types of couples for your venue, then they're never going to convert. And if I don't have enough quantity, then I don't have the numbers coming through my pipeline to actually fill that diary. So we can't blame our wedding coordinators if we on senior leadership, marketing are not driving a flow of quantity and quality leads into our wedding coordinators inbox. Now, when I work with senior leadership teams and general managers, we show them a really simple method. It's simple because I like simple. I don't believe in overcomplicating things. We show them exactly how to flow leads in to a very specific type of landing page, which we know converts at high levels. Couples then enter into our sales process with the nurture sequence that we were just talking about during the follow-up. And then we start seeing by email 4 and 5, those couples are converting into tours. Now, one venue who did this recently had to actually turn off their tour calendar. So they have an automated calendar where you can book your own tour, as I just mentioned to you. And they had so many tours booking in, they couldn't actually manage it. And they had to turn off their tour calendar. Now, imagine right now if that was your situation. How would that feel to you? Owning your hotel, running your hotel, being the senior leaders in your hotel and saying, my goodness, we have to turn off the wedding tour calendar because we've got too many couples, more than we can handle. But that is the reality in today's world if you get these steps in the right order and done correctly. Now, these are the 6 steps that I recommend you focus on. And these are the exact 6 steps that I cover in the Wedding Venue Academy. Now, the Academy is something that I teach live, normally 2 or 3 times a year, and it lasts over 6 weeks. So I teach live on Zoom 1 hour each week for 6 weeks. And we spend an hour on each of the steps I've just described using a paint by numbers formula. So your team are left with no qualms, no questions on exactly what they need to action. Now, the new term of the Wedding Venue Academy starts in January, which is in a few weeks' time, January 2025. The early bird price ends Friday, 2 days from now, Friday, the 13th of December. After the 13th of December, the early bird price is no longer available and the standard price is double the early bird price. So if you are interested in learning more about the Wedding Venue Academy, you're thinking about enrolling your team, you'd like to see a little bit more information about it, then you can comment venue underneath this live and I'll drop the link for you, or you can simply copy the link that has flashed up on the screen. So these are the 6 points that I recommend you go away and focus on in the next couple of weeks so you can start getting yourself ready for engagement season. Or if you are so snowed under with Christmas bookings and events, then go and look at the Wedding Venue Academy. I will personally train you and your team so that you can have all of these steps in place and you will be ready to convert during engagement season with all these gorgeous newly engaged humans coming into our market. So guys, I hope you found this useful. You can drop any questions, any comments on the comments here below the live video, and you can go and take a look at the Wedding Venue Academy. More details are right here on this link. Comment the word hotel and I'll drop the link for you as well. Okay, have a brilliant rest of your day and I'll see you again on a next live very soon.